Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. This is going to be a games I have recently completed video. Or games I've not so recently completed, because I've not done one of these in quite a few months. So as a result, I have accumulated quite a few games. So yeah, all those games that I've completed over the last couple of months. So yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Just like, I don't know, I never got around to doing it, and now I'm quite far behind. So yeah, I've got quite a few games to talk about. So yeah, without further ado guys, let's get on with the games recently completed. So we'll start off with the Xbox 360 games. They're both from the same series, so I'll probably just show these together. And that is Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. Yeah, so continuing my journey with the Gears of War games, since I completed Gears of War 1 last year. Yeah, I wanted to, progress in the Gears of War games, and I've got to say guys, these games are even better than the original game. I would say especially Gears of War 2, we'll talk about this one first. Yeah, Gears of War 2 for me is probably my favourite one. In my opinion, it just had like the best locations, it had the best boss fights, the majority of the time. Just like the first game, I do like the characters are pretty, enjoyable to listen to. Kind of like a mixture of like seriousness and humour, which works really well in my opinion. Yeah, Gears of War 2, what can I say, this game's just, it was a blast to play through. I wish I could talk about this more, but it's been a couple of months since I played through it, but all I can say guys is this game's just, like I say, a blast to play through. A lot easier in my opinion than the first game. I just think that, when you're down, like your characters are better at reviving you. So yeah, I do think that makes the game a little bit easier. Which I'm all for, because like I say, I was stuck in a few sections in the first game for, about maybe 10 minutes. Some parts are really blooming tough actually. But yeah, this is definitely an improvement as far as like gameplay goes, boss fights, all that stuff. But yeah, Gears of War 2, fantastic game. I would say apart from Forza Motorsport 3, this is my favourite Xbox 360 game. Really enjoyed it. And the next one was of course Gears of War 3. Which in my opinion is still a good game, not as good as the second one for me. I did feel like some areas did feel a little bit repetitive. The shooting in that for me didn't feel quite as satisfying as the second game. But overall I do still prefer it, over the first game. I do still think it had, again, really good bosses, some good locations as well. And in my opinion it had a really good final boss as well. I won't spoil it, but I'd say that's probably my favourite final boss, in the Gears of War series so far. Yeah, that was a great boss fight. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, again, more or less the same kind of thing. Just really, overall satisfying. Gameplay, good characters, good dialogue, good story, and yeah, overall Gears of War 3, in my opinion, as well, a really good game. So yeah. Next, we have a HD collection on the PS3, and I played through God of War 2. So I'm sure in the last video, at least I hope I did, that I mentioned that I played through God of War 1. And, overall I thought it was a good game. It was a good way to start the series. It was probably the easiest one. I didn't feel like the combat was difficult. I think like most of the time I died in that game was because of the traps. So yeah, I wanted to continue and go into God of War 2. And, overall I'm kind of mixed about God of War 2. I did still really enjoy the game. I mean, the first couple of hours I thought, this could be my favourite God of War game. But it kind of just reached a section where it was kind of like puzzle after puzzle. It was not enough combat and too many puzzles at a certain point in the game. Which in my opinion did kind of drag it down, because I'm not really a big fan of puzzles. I mean, the puzzles weren't too difficult or anything, but I don't know, I kind of just wanted to stick it on and beat up some enemies and stuff. So the fact that it was too many puzzles one after the other, it was kind of, like I say, it did kind of drag it down for me. I would still say God of War 2 is a good game. It did pick up towards the end again. Some real good boss fights at the end. Really enjoyed them. But yeah, overall just the puzzles kind of left a little bit of a sour taste. But again, by no means a bad game. I still really enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the original game or God of War 3. I'd still say it's better than Ascension. Ascension, I just didn't get on with Ascension at all. But yeah, God of War 2, I would say the increased difficulty of the combat I wasn't just dying because of traps, like the original game, I was dying in combat as well, because some of the sections were quite tough. But yeah, God of War 2, in my opinion, a good enough game, just not quite as good as 1 and 3. 3 is probably still my favourite, but you know, God of War 2, it's still a good game. If it had less puzzles, it could have been my favourite, you never know guys. But yeah, God of War 2. And the next one, I mentioned this in my pickup video and now I've completed it. So this only took 3 sessions. This is a really short game, which is kind of good. It didn't outstay its welcome. That was Fast and Furious Showdown. Yeah, this game. Again, I still stick with what I said in my pickup video. This is one of those games that's, like, I know it's really bad, but I still kind of get some fun out of the game. And you know, there's not a lot of games that really do that for me. Usually if a game's really bad, I notice it being bad and I'm just like, I cannot be bothered with this. But I just wanted to continue with this. I just wanted to see what, you know, what the game would throw at me next, because it was just really like strange. I've already mentioned like trying to like hijack vehicles. You like jump on your car, try and keep your balance, and you jump onto the other vehicle, and like you pull the guy out of the car or the van, and he just disappears into like fresh air. It's really crazy. It's just one of those like really like strange games. It's quite glitchy at places. Frame rate's actually not too bad. I actually thought this game was like really bad as far as like frame rate goes, but the frame rate's not actually too bad. So I'll give it props for that. But yeah, it's just a very you know, mediocre game. A lot of people say it's not even a mediocre game, it's just a garbage game, but like I say, I got enjoyment out of it. Completed it in 3 sessions, about a 5-6 hour long game, really short, and like I said, it's fun. In a way, in a strange way, it's fun. So I'm keeping that in the collection. I thought it'd be one of those games I'd play through, then I would sell on, but I kind of want to keep this one. It's funny, okay? So yeah, Fast and Furious Showdown. Also, the second last mission took me like many attempts, maybe like 8 attempts. You had 2 minutes to get from point A to point B, and there's like so many like cop cars and stuff coming at you. It was so blooming tough. And I think you could only afford to take like 1 hit from a cop car, and then you would, you know, or you'd run out of time basically. It was so strict on time. It kind of reminded me of Driver 2, because some of those missions were quite strict as well. But yeah, the final mission only took my 2nd attempt, but yeah, that second last mission, yeah, that was brutal. That was really tough. Next we'll go on to another HD collection. There's actually another one after this. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is the Sly trilogy. So yeah, after last year playing through Sly 1, really enjoyed Sly 1. I thought Sly 1 was absolutely tremendous. I really liked it. It was great. You know, a lot of charm, a lot of personality, great bosses, you know, great locations, great dialogue. I just loved it. Sly 1 was amazing. And you know, everyone says, you know, Sly 2 and Sly 3 are better, so I wanted to play through Sly 2 and Sly 3. So yeah, play through Sly 2 first. And to be honest, it started off quite well. But I don't know, it just, for me, I just lost interest in the game. I mean, like Sly 1, it was kind of like different levels, like separate areas and stuff. But like Sly 2 and Sly 3 as well, you know, like just like a big like area. So it's kind of like a more like free roaming kind of thing, I guess. You can like pickpocket and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just, for me, the navigation in some of the missions were so blooming bad. Sometimes it took me ages trying to figure out how to get up to like certain points. You need to really blooming explore. Especially the one was like a swamp kind of area. And then there was one that was like kind of like a castle kind of area. Just the navigation was really awkward in my opinion. And this game introduces how you can play as Bentley and Murray, and Hippo and the turtle, which I did kind of like at first, but obviously I just preferred playing as Sly Cooper. To be honest, it's just, in my opinion, the most enjoyable gameplay. You know, Sly's kind of like the stealth guy. Murray's like the big strong guy, just beats everybody up. And then you've got Bentley's kind of like the tech guy. He's not really that good at fighting. He just more like relies on tech and stuff to like outsmart enemies and stuff. But yeah, just for me, I don't know. Like I say, it started off well, and it's kind of, for me, it just kind of fell flat. I'm sorry, because a lot of people say Sly 2 is their favourite in the Sly series. Which, definitely, I respect your opinion, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into it as much. I didn't really like the main, bad guy, which I really liked in Sly 1. I liked Clockwork, he was a really good bad guy in my opinion. But yeah, Sly 2, I don't want to say too much more on it, to be honest. I just didn't like it near as much as Sly 1. It's not even like Sly 1 was slightly better, I just think Sly 1 was, miles better, but again, that's just me. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, that's Sly 2. And after Sly 2, basically went straight on to Sly 3, which maybe I shouldn't have done, maybe I should have taken a little bit of a break. But, like a couple of days later, I went straight on to Sly 3. And again, really enjoyed it at the beginning. And then it fell flat. I don't know, it didn't fall like as flat as Sly 2 in my opinion. I do think Sly 3 was better overall than Sly 2. But again, there's just something about the game. I had a few interesting enemies. Again, nowhere near as good as Sly 1. But yeah, again, it's the same kind of thing. Play as Sly, play as Murray, play as Bentley. Navigation, in my opinion, was a lot better in Sly 3, so I'm definitely glad they improved that. But yeah, it's overall, again, it's just lacking the charm and personality of the first game. I don't know, I've just got a thing for the first game. I just think the first game was just so blooming good. To be honest, I can't really say much more. It's just kind of like the same thing as Sly 2. It kind of like lacks the same things as Sly 2 did compared to the original. But again, by no means bad games, Sly 2 and 3. Just, in my personal opinion, just miles behind Sly 1. I don't know what it is about Sly 1, I just love that game. I'd happily play through that one again. But whereas Sly 2 and 3, I probably wouldn't, to be honest. Unless it's like years and years down the line. But Sly 1, I might even play through Sly 1 again this year at some point, because I just loved that game to death. Maybe even get some of the trophies that I didn't get, in Sly 1. But yeah guys, that is my opinion on the Sly trilogy. Sly 1 is a tremendous game. Sly 2 and 3, very, very average. I'm sorry guys. But like I say, 3's better than 2, in my opinion. So again, we have another HD collection here. And I played through the only Metal Gear Solid game on this that I've not played through yet. And that is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Which will be, I believe, at bottom row. I believe. Yeah. Yeah, Peace Walker. So Peace Walker was the game that was on the PSP. But obviously they've, remastered it to make it look, basically just look like the PS2 games on this collection. Which I was kind of surprised about. I thought it'd maybe take a little bit of a dip in, graphics quality. But like I say, it looks just pretty much the same as, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 in this collection. And I've got to say, Peace Walker for me, I was kind of mixed at the beginning. Because I do feel like this game kind of does require more stealth than other games. Sometimes you can't progress unless you actually go undetected in that area. But yeah, overall I just thought this was a really good game. I loved how you could capture people and recruit them to your base. And turn them into basically your allies. And then you can use them to research things or work in the cafeteria to feed the the soldiers that are in your team. It was just a really interesting idea. I know they did that in Metal Gear Solid 5. I tried to get into Metal Gear Solid 5, I had it at one point, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. Again, it looked good graphical wise, it was a cool open world kind of thing, but for me it just didn't feel like Metal Gear Solid, which in my opinion was the letdown. This still feels like Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker. And for that reason I really enjoyed it. Again, good locations like jungles and stuff, so it was kind of like Metal Gear Solid 3. Which is probably my favourite in the trilogy. I would still say Metal Gear Solid 1 is my favourite, of all time. Just so much personality and great storyline in that game is just tremendous. It's pretty much a masterpiece of a game, the original game. But yeah, Peace Walker, in my opinion, again, another really good game. Good characters, good story. Music was good as well. Just like all the other Metal Gear Solid games. Yeah, Peace Walker, what can I say? It's a really good game. Again, it's another one of those great games. You can go back and grind and improve your equipment and stuff. Which is kind of cool. You know, if you feel like you're struggling with a boss or a mission, you can go back to previous missions, like recruit more people, you know, to do like your research so you can get better weapons and stuff. I like that. You know, it was kind of cool. I did end up, you know, going back every now and again to do like some easy missions just to, you know, improve my like equipment and stuff. So yeah, in my opinion, Peace Walker, really good game. Probably my least favourite in this like collection here, but you know, still an absolutely tremendous game in my opinion. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Next we'll go on to a PS2 game that I've played through before. And usually I don't like talk about games that I've played through before. But I feel like I've never really like properly talked about this one before. And it's a very, very interesting one. And it is Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex. So yeah, when I did like my top 5 favourite and least favourite Crash Bandicoot levels, I did mention that I had played through this in the past, but I couldn't really remember much about it. And I was kind of curious to go back to it. I kind of like felt like, you know, playing for it again. I kind of had a few urges. And yeah, played for it again, and I still think it's a decent game, to be honest. Obviously nowhere near as good as like Crash 2 and 3. Probably not even as good as the original. But yeah, I do still think this is a decent game. You know, definitely got its faults. Some of the missions in this game were really, really tough. To be honest, it took me many, many attempts. Those underwater sections are horrible. Really, really horrible. I did say like the Crash 3 like underwater levels are really, really bad in my opinion, but these are worse. These are absolutely terrible. I remember in my top 5 least favourite Crash Bandicoot levels that LFC Gamer commented that his least favourite level was Smokey and the Bandicoot, which is one of the racing levels in this game. And I thought, how can the racing levels be worse than in Crash 3? Boy was I wrong. These are horrible. These are even worse than Crash Bandicoot 3. These are terrible. You know, obviously like Crash 3, like you fall down holes and that, you just basically respawn. You fall down holes in the racing levels in this and you lose a life. And like the vehicles are like so difficult to control. You're not on a bike like Crash 3, you're in like some kind of like safari, like buggy thing. And it was so difficult to control, you could hardly avoid the holes just because of how like slippery the controls were. So yeah, I definitely see why he put that on his list for being like one of the worst Crash Bandicoot levels, because that was terrible. That was horrible. Yeah, probably my least favourite level in this game. That was awful. But yeah, overall, I do still think it was you know, a decent game with a few, you know, quite a few annoying levels. But overall, I still think it was quite decent. I loved that level. I think that was level 1 or something. That like icy level. That was really, really good. That was a great way to start the game. I was going to say hamster ball, but yeah, it's kind of inspired by hamster ball, I'm sure. Basically playing as Crash Bandicoot in a ball, having to navigate through a level. It started off quite well, but some of the later ones were quite tough. So yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of them. The Coco levels were alright. Basically you're on like a scooter there, and like there's one you have to like run away from like a tsunami. That was kind of cool, I guess. Visually it was cool, but it was kind of tough. To be honest, you had very little like room for error, and very little like time to react to like certain obstacles and things. But and some of the bosses were tough. Like boss number 2 took me so many attempts. Especially like the water level, when you have to like jump on these platforms and like sink, and you've got this guy shooting like projectiles at you. That was really blooming tough. But I did like one of his lines. It was like called like Crash Bandicoot like an orange sponge. That was kind of funny, I guess. But yeah, that was a really annoying boss number 2. But yeah, what can I say? It's a decent game. I think Crunch is a decent, you know, villain. Soundtrack, dude. I really like the soundtrack in this game. It's really, really cool. Probably my favourite is probably the final boss. That was a really good soundtrack. But yeah, Wrath of Cortex, overall still a decent game, just, you know, it is definitely lacking compared to the, you know, the original games. Next we have a PS3 game that I consider like probably my least favourite game that I've played for this year. This game was so blooming boring. But it kind of like got to the stage where I wanted to play through it. I'd got like halfway through the game, so I wanted to play through it. So I was just playing it like half an hour every now and again, you know, racking up that time just just to get through it eventually. And that was Lost Planet 3. Yeah, this game is so boring. get to why in a minute. See, I don't have like the best experience with the Lost Planet games. I played through the second one. Again, I thought that was boring as well. But I'd rather play through the second game than play through this game. This game was just so blooming dull. And a really bad frame rate as well. At times it was really like stuttery, especially during cutscenes. Really blooming stuttery. Overall I think like the location was quite good. It was kind of like icy kind of levels, which I like. I do like icy stuff in games. So basically just like plowing through ice and stuff in this like mechanical like vehicle thing, and the vehicle was so slow. You're probably quicker just running than being in this vehicle, but sometimes you had to be in this vehicle because of the weather conditions, and it was just, it just dragged on and on and on. You had to like slowly go to your missions, and it was horrible. It was so blooming horrible, and trying to fight when you're in a mech, it just felt so blooming awkward. Some of the monsters like really big, and it just really outpowered your mech. I felt safer on foot than I did when I was in a mech, and that was wrong. I just shouldn't be, guys. There's something wrong with that. There really is. Something I'll give it a little bit of credit for is the dialogue. Some of the dialogue in that's okay. The voice actors, they do a decent job in my opinion. Characters not that interesting though, but the dialogue's alright to listen to, I guess. But yeah, that's basically the game. You're going around like shooting like these alien kind of things. And it's just really repetitive. Like, I don't really mind shooting like the smaller aliens, but shooting some of the bigger aliens, it just takes so blooming long. It's so repetitive, and just so boring. It had nothing going for it. It had nothing that made me want to keep going with the game. It fell flat on its face. So yeah, Lost Planet 3 is probably a game I'm gonna sell. I don't see me playing for this again. It's not even one of those games that's so bad it's good, like Fast and Furious. It's so bad that I just wanted to switch it off. So yeah, Lost Planet 3, completed it, but definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. Definitely my least favourite game, I would say, that I've played for this year. We'll go on to a PS2 game now. We've only got 3 more games to go here. And this one is Time Splitters Future Perfect, which I'll get to in a minute, but this game really surprised me. Yeah, this game surprised me. This game was a hell of a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. Come from someone that's not really big into Time Splitters. I had the original one. I'm not saying it's a bad game, I just couldn't really get into it. This game just really fun. It's quite short, maybe like a 5-6 hour long game. It won't take you too long at all. But the thing I love about this game is it doesn't take itself seriously. There's a lot of humour in the game. Some of the characters you meet are just absolute blooming crazy. They're crazy, but they're also very likeable, and also very interesting. You want to kind of like know more about the characters because they're really blooming entertaining. Yeah, just basically going through like different like time periods and stuff. Playing as what the hell was the guy's name? Cortez. This guy reminds me of Vin Diesel from the Chronicles of Riddick. He's basically a bald guy with like funky glasses. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but for me that's what it comes across as. But yeah, the game's just so blooming crazy. You play as your current self, and then you play as your future self, and you just get different weapons depending on like what version of yourself you're playing as. It's just a blast to play through. There's like a mission where you're on a train just shooting like a ton of bad guys and stuff, trying to rescue someone. There's one when probably my favourite level in the game, you go into like a haunted house, and basically you're using like a baseball bat to like basically knock the heads off like zombies and stuff. It was just a hell of a lot of fun. I just really enjoyed that mission. There's like one, you can see there's kind of like the war kind of thing. Which that level kind of felt a little bit like Medal of Honor, which I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it was just a hell of a lot of cool stuff. It was like futuristic kind of levels. Yeah, it's just the kind of game that had like so much personality, and it's the kind of game I wanted to keep playing because I wanted to see what the game was going to throw at me next. And yeah, it was just so blooming cool. There was only like one section of the game I didn't like. It was kind of like a puzzle. I had to do like 3 puzzles in a row. and in between that you're like shooting enemies as well. You have a puzzle when you're shooting enemies, and a second puzzle shooting enemies, and then your third puzzle. And if you fail at that third puzzle, you have to do puzzle 1 again, and then shoot the enemies. And you know, that was kind of annoying in my opinion. I mean, the puzzle wasn't like difficult or anything. It was kind of like Pipe Mania. You had to like link the pipes up to connect to like different points and stuff. But you know, when you're under pressure of a timer, it can be quite stressful. I'm not good under pressure at things like that, so I have to do like puzzle 1 again quite a few times. So that's like the only negative thing. But yeah, overall this game was a blast. Really enjoyed this. I wish there was more like this, but I believe this was like the only Time Splitters game that did something like this. Could be wrong, but yeah, like I said, this game was a blast. Definitely recommend it if you like first person shooters with like a crazy twist to it. You know, like a lot of crazy personalities and things. But yeah, Time Splitters Future Perfect. Really good game. I mean, I did like expect to like it, but the game just, you know, it exceeded its like expectations in my opinion. And the last PS3 game we have here is a game I've been wanting to play through for a little while, just never got round to playing for it. And this is the only game in the series that I've played through. And that is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist. And I have to say, what a game. This game was absolutely tremendous. I really enjoyed this game. It was like the shooting in my opinion was so satisfying. It's a pretty damn good looking game as well. You know, run at a pretty, you know, smooth frame rate as well. In my opinion, the characters are really good, storyline is really good. I mean, you know, it's not much different. I mean, it's just like, you know, stopping like terrorism and stuff. But I still really enjoyed the characters and dialogue. It was so blooming good. Great voice acting. I love the guy you play as, Sam Fisher, in my opinion. A really good character. I'm hoping that he's in other Splinter Cell games, because I do want to play them at some point. Yeah, just like the performance of his voice actor in this was so blooming good. Such a, you know, a likeable character. In my opinion, this game had like the perfect combination of, you know, shooting and stealth. You know, some sections did require you to be stealthy, or you'd have to restart from your last checkpoint. But you know, overall, you know, majority of the time it was kind of like your choice. But being stealthy in this game was really fun and satisfying. You can like use like smoke grenades, you could turn lights out, and you know, use your goggles and that to see in the dark and stuff. That was really blooming cool. I really enjoyed that. It was like a mission, you know, you have to go for this mansion and stuff. It was so blooming satisfying. You know, this game was great. Really enjoyed it. Like, I don't know how long it was, maybe like an 8-hour long game, but the game just flew by. It was just so blooming enjoyable. I just couldn't put it down. You know, what more can I say? If this is like what other Splinter Cell games are like, I can tell I'm going to really enjoy the Splinter Cell series, so I'm definitely looking to get the HD remaster of Splinter Cell at some point. Yeah, definitely looking to pick that up, because this game was a blast. Really enjoyed it, so yeah, highly recommend that if you like, you know, third person, you know, like stealth games. And that brings us to the last game on the list, and this is a PS2 game that I played through a few months ago now, I would say. But I really enjoyed this one. This is one that I've been looking to, you know, play through for such a long time. I've played through the third game on the PS3, and you know, I did think it was a good game. It did get a little bit repetitive, but I did still think it was a good enough game. But I've always wanted to play through the original, and now I have, and that is Max Payne on the PS2. Gotta say, I love that cover though, in my opinion. That really stands out. Pretty damn cool. Some pretty good screenshots at the back. So yeah, Max Payne. This game for me was a blast to play through. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, one thing I'll say about this game, it's not really like aged too well, like graphical wise. Especially like facial animations. I mean, if you see Max Payne there, his face, don't know how you can see that, but his face like never changes, like his character model. It's always like, yeah, it's always the same face. It's actually kind of funny, to be honest. But yeah, this game, in my opinion, this game had a lot going for it. It had a really good like storyline. It had good characters, great dialogue. A good story because it's basically just about a man who's basically hit rock bottom. He has to go and get revenge, basically. So at the beginning of the game, he comes home, his wife's shot dead, his kid's dead as well. shot dead, lying dead in the cup. So yeah, it's quite a dark, sinister start to the game. It definitely sets you up for the ride that's ahead. And basically to heal yourself, for the game, you use painkillers. So and you find out later on in Max Payne 3, I'm guessing it's probably the same Max Payne 2, because I've not played that one yet. But I mean, in Max Payne, you could tell the guy was so blooming rough. He had like an addiction to painkillers, addiction to alcohol. Definitely a guy that's, hit rock bottom. And this is basically the start of him hitting rock bottom, having his wife and kid murdered. And even in this, it didn't look like too, deranged, but I'm guessing as the game goes on, the games go on, it gets worse and worse and worse. But in my opinion, that sets up the game well, because you want to get revenge for Max Payne. You want to, see him get the people that murdered his family. But yeah, just, in my opinion, a great game. It does suffer from frame rate issues. So again, it's not aged well, but I'm guessing it was quite an early PS2 release. 2001. So yeah, quite an early release. So yeah, it does kind of show. But the whole bullet time thing, going in slow motion, that to kill enemies and that, it's really well and cool. In my opinion, works really, really well. It's kind of one of the main features of the game. And I really, really enjoy it. In my opinion, great locations. You've got train stations, you've got dirty apartments and stuff, you've got nightclubs. You've got areas later in the game where you're in snowy areas and stuff. But in my opinion, great locations, great set of locations. And yeah, overall just had a really, good time with this game. I thought the shooting was satisfying. That was the main thing. The shooting was very, very satisfying. Shooting people with a shotgun in slow motion, seeing them go flying, it was just so blooming satisfying. One of the problems I had with this game is it got really difficult later on. The last quarter of the game was really, really tough. It was a certain, there was a area had laser beams, which I absolutely hated. You had to go up this elevator and shoot these laser beams, or you basically instant death. That really, really sucked. I really struggled shooting the laser beams, because going up an elevator trying to shoot these laser beams, it was difficult. And the camera didn't help, I just couldn't get in the right position. But that was the only thing that I disliked about it. This game was a lot of fun. Definitely want to get Max Payne 2, see what that's all about. But yeah, Max Payne 1, in my opinion, really, really good game. Probably plays better on PC. So if you've got a good PC, definitely recommend that version probably. But yeah, overall Max Payne, great game, and definitely recommend it. So anyway guys, yeah, that is it for games I've recently played. So yeah, quite a few games here. I'm going to be honest, there's a few games that I was going to do a quick review on, but again, some of these I just completed months ago, and some memories are a bit vague. I can only remember certain things, the God of War game, for instance, the Gears of War games. My mind's still a little bit fuzzy. All I can remember is really, enjoying, especially Gears of War. Really enjoyed those games. But anyway guys, yeah, thanks for watching guys, really appreciate it as always. Let me know in the comments below if you played any of these games and what you think of them. And also leave in the comments below what you've been playing recently or what you've completed recently. And yeah, definitely looking forward to hear your guys' comments. So anyway guys, yep, thanks for watching as always, and yep, catch you all later.